Hello aspirants, welcome to ShailajaIAS. This is Subash. Welcome to the PYQ Decoder class. Today we are coming up with a new subject with the class 1 for the history. Here we'll discuss with respect to ancient, medieval history, modern history and art and culture. Many students and many aspirants have issue with this subject history because of so vast syllabus, so many topics to cover and uncertainty of the questions that are coming in UPSC. For few it is easy because it is completely static and there is no new thing to learn like current affairs in the other subject like science, economy, environment. But however, the history questions, how the UPSC formulates has become a headache because you are not able to decipher from the books which you are reading with respect to history. Today we'll analyze in this strategy class how even in the chaos you can find a rationale how UPSC is setting the paper. Even in so much of vast syllabus and vast topics to read, how UPSC is focused on few areas and themes where you will be able to address, understand, revise, fine-tune your preparation and make sure you get maximum marks out of what you have read. See, you cannot read 700, 800 pages of big books with respect to ancient, medieval, art and culture, modern history and revise and remember. It's not possible. What you have to do is see which areas and themes UPSC has focused in last 5-6 years and focus and put more efforts on that. You will be able to get at least 60 to 70% of the questions right, and those questions will make sure that you are in the list for the mains examination. So in this strategy session, without wasting any time, we'll see how syllabus has been decoded. It's not only prelims, the main syllabus has been decoded. How is the 10-year cut trend? What are the important key themes? What are the traps set by UPSC? How examiner how to understand the examiner's mind? What are the themes and how statements have been set? Now so logical pairs have come, so pair questions have come, so eliminated all the traditional tricks and techniques. Now how you will be able to get logically the answers. So chalo, we'll shuru. Now we'll decode the history. In prelims, simply as mentioned, Indian history and the freedom movement specifically as mentioned. However, majority of our history comes from the GS paper 1 of the mains syllabus. So there you have Indian art and culture, where you have Indian ancient history, medieval history, linked with world history, world society, as well as Indian society. We'll see from both the angle, and if you have to score well in history, you have to be prepared for the mains examination also. That is the key, because you will study there complete art and culture, ancient medieval history, modern history, post-India, post-Indian history, post-Indian independence history. That will give you a comprehensive coverage. This is not just about just mugging up, roting that chronology, timeline and kings and kingdoms and facts, but it is also linking causal relationship between past, present and the future. Today current affairs topics might be linked with the past themes, our history, our past, our culture. So it's important you have an open mindset and able to link any current related activities with our historical timeline, chronology as well as space, the geographical locations. So this is the syllabus. We'll see all the parts of the history today. So ancient India, important syllabus themes we are seeing specifically asked in prelims. Prehistoric, Stone Ages, we have Old Stone Age, Middle Stone Age or Mesolithic, right? Neo Chalcolithic Age. Sources of prehistory. Tool typologies, questions have come like Paleo, Meso, Neolithic, which is the age where agriculture revolution happened. Please comment in the YouTube comment section. Neolithic age and megalithic burial practices. All this locations. See, history always goes with time and space. So in mainly ancient medieval history, mapping become very important. Mapping will fetch you 2 to 3 questions easily. Every year, 2 to 3 questions are linked with ancient history, medieval history, important sites, and also link timeline with space. So there is a causal relationship. Okay, what caused what, and you are properly able to link the pattern. Okay, just how our brain understands neural link, you'll be able to remember very easily when you link the timeline with the space and growth of our culture as well as history. Next, Indus Valley Civilization. Is it a Chalcolithic or Iron Age? You have to tell me. Okay, Chalcolithic age, the urban planning, the metallurgy, the economical activities, agriculture, okay, site findings, all this becomes very important. Which are the factory sites, which are non-factory sites, okay, which are the sites known for religious activities, what are all the religious, okay, artifacts. From all these questions have come directly. Next, the Iron Age, which is the Vedic age, and from Vedic age you have Mahajanapadas, okay, the 16 Mahajanapadas, okay, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, all the Vedas, Upanishads, Aranyakas during this period becomes very important. The evolution, okay, 16 Mahajanapadas, and the geography. Questions have been asked. In 2025, only 2 questions have been asked from these 2 parts of ancient history. Next, religious movement. Not the 15th, 16th, but the 4th, okay, 3rd, 4th century and the 7th, 8th century religious movement. First, the BC movements like Buddhism, okay, 3rd BC, 4th BC, heterodox like Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivikas, and also you have philosophical traditions like Sankhya, okay, Upanishad, Vedanta, Yoga, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, all this becomes very important. Next, you have Mauryan kingdom and you have Gupta kingdom. Here, how to study is you have to link administration, the kingdom, kings linked with administration, the social status, the agricultural development, the economical development, what are the crops grown becomes important, what are the economical activities, what are the men and women status, okay, what are the religious practices, all this becomes very important. These are the important themes where 90% of your questions come from. My friends, please look at it once. These are the 90% where questions are coming from. Okay, prehistoric and Chalcolithic, Indus Valley Civilization, Vedic and Mahajanapadas, religious movements, mainly heterodox sects like Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivikas, okay, Charavakas, and our Sankhya philosophy or philosophical traditions also, Sankhya, Vedanta, Yoga, all this becomes important. Then the big important kingdoms like Maurya and the golden age period of Gupta, and complete administration, military, economy, society, religion, okay, poets, scientific development linked to it becomes very important. That's how you study the timeline as well as the development of our culture linked with geographical locations. Clear? We'll go to next slide. We saw the ancient history. Next, it is medieval Indian history. Here, we see the transition, okay, the tripartite struggle, 750 to 1200 AD. After the end of Guptas, we see the tripartite struggle, okay. Then we have Cholas coming in the south. There in the north we have Harshavardhana. The foreign travelers that happened during Gupta age, after Gupta, post Gupta age, during Harshavardhana also is very important. And Chola's naval dominance, temple architecture started growing here. Not very depth, but you have to understand which are the important temple architecture and who were the kings who were patronizing all this temple architecture becomes important. And temple architecture became a tool of statecraft, especially in the southern states like Pallavas, okay, Cholas, where Dravidian temple reached its zenith under these kingdoms. Next, you have sultanates. Then you have the attack from the northwestern region, the porous border. We are seeing attack from Alexander period also. Now you have Muhammad Ghazni, Ghori attacking, and Okay, slave dynasty, Delhi Sultanate, starting from slave dynasty till Sayyids, all will be important. Evolution of important year is administrative system, any new military system, okay, officials, their names, terminologies, reforms, how society changed, what was the relationship between Hindu subjects and rulers, Muslim rulers, okay, defense against Mongols, who were the external enemies attacking at that period becomes also very important. You have then Mughals, okay, Mughals, Babur, then the important again, see always kingdoms linked with administration, society, technology, foreigners who had visited, okay, reforms, all this becomes important. Here you had Mansabdari, Jagirdari system, religious syncretism mainly of Akbar policies, okay, its revenue system, Dashala revenue system, Khilji's revenue, okay, Khilji's system of Khalsa, all this becomes very important. Next you have southern kingdoms also. Especially UPSC will focus one or the other question mainly with respect to Hoysalas, Vijayanagara kingdom, Kakatiyas of Warangal, okay, all these are important. Then you have Mysore kingdom, you have Nizam of Hyderabad, and you have Shivaji, Marathas. All these are a chain where medieval India is slowly, you are seeing the Europeans coming and modern India, modern Indian history taking place. So this also becomes important. Then you have cultural synthesis like the Bhakti movement, the Sufi movement, the important gurus, saints and their works becomes important. Questions are coming every year, 1 or 2 questions with respect to saints, their works are coming from this cultural synthesis. And you have Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, many, okay, so saints, Sufis, okay, this becomes very important, their work, okay, what traditions they followed, their characteristics, every year 1 or 2 questions are coming, my friends. Next, modern Indian history and the freedom struggle, okay, the national movement. It can be briefly taken as before Gandhi and after Gandhi. So you can see from European penetration, arrival of Portuguese, Dutch, French, where are their factories becomes very important every year, what crops they brought becomes very important, what are the new scientific inventions, how the army got modernized, how the economy got modernized also becomes very important. Then you have colonial policy, settlements once, okay, the battles followed, okay, Battle of Buxa, Battle of Plassey, all these historical events becomes obviously crucial to understand how colonial policy formulation happened, land settlements and okay, all the permanent Rayatwari, Mahalwari, who were the people behind it, and reign of wealth theory, economical understanding that British colonial policy is acting upon the Indians. The acts becomes very important, starting from Regulating Act to 1947 Indian Independence Acts are very important. Then also with respect to Renaissance and Reformation, Renaissance movement and Reformation movement plays a very important role in freedom struggle as well. You have Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, okay, so many Renaissance organizations across India in north, south, center, west, okay, in Mumbai, Jyotiba Phule, Satyashodhak Samaj, in southern, Periyar, all this becomes very important. Anti-caste movement, tribal uprisings, peasant uprisings. The 1857 was a watershed movement, right? After the 1857 movement, you had tribal revolts before that, during 1857, after 1857 also, peasant revolts, okay? All these revolts becomes very important where 1-2 questions are asked each year. Then you have the Gandhian era. Gandhian era where early Satyagraha, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, Quit India movement, the Pune Pact, all these areas are where questions has been asked time and again. Also, it has been asked with respect to how the evolution of party system, political parties also evolved. Who were Swarajis, who were no changers, how revolutionaries came into place, which are the important parties with respect to Indian revolutionaries, revolutionary stands with respect to Gaddar Party, Subhash Chandra Bose and INA, the Red Fort trials, okay, the socialist influences, communist influence, all this becomes crucial for modern Indian history. History is not just very boring or static or factual, but it is linked with time, cultural evolution, our own historical growth. So causal linking and relationship, if you are able to understand that, then history will be very entertaining and you can remember most of the things which are going on, the timeline as well as the places. For that you have to revise. If you are able to get 80% of the questions from just able to 200 pages of proper studying, revision, note making, then it makes the sense than studying 700-800 pages of vast history, books and notes. So make sure you focus your preparation through PYQs and syllabus mapping and seeing where the important micro themes UPSC is focusing and asking questions time and again. Art and culture and important institutions, their heritages questions have been asked with respect to architecture. From the, if you see Harappan civilization to Iron Age Vedic civilization, Mauryan rock cut to Pallavas traditions in the south, questions have come. And for example, UNESCO sites like Vaisala's ensemblages were in news and that question was asked in the previous UPSC paper. So history linked with the current affairs also is very crucial. Then metallurgy and sculptures, questions have come. Lost wax casting has come. Harappa, bronze, dancing girl, all these questions have come and repeated again and again. Religious art with respect to Buddhist stupas and temple architecture, styles across dynasties have been asked again and again. Then literature and philosophy with respect to from our own Indian history and Orthodox history as well as heterodox sects, Buddhism, Jainism, Upanishads, Sankhya, Charavakas, Sanskrit literature, our own Pali literature, all the local literatures, question have come. And Indo-Islamic synthesis also is very important after the 11th, 12th century. Then you have some of the very important historical living traditions which are current affairs linked to our history, past history, historical sites, UNESCO sites, all this will be very crucial. Cultural sites will be important with respect to history. Now, we'll see the previous year 10-year trend, how history and what are the weightage given to ancient, medieval, modern and art and culture, my friends. This is the last 10 years analysis. If you see, almost ancient history and medieval history, very less questions had been asked in 2016 and most of the questions were focused on modern Indian history. Because UPSC prelims topic only says Indian history and mainly the freedom movement, national struggle, Indian freedom movement. So questions were focused on that. However, as you go to 2025, the questions are evenly distributed and more than factual and direct questions have been very analytical. Very analytical, intelligently set, If you think I can read everything, revise by heart and go, no, it's not possible to score good marks in history and it's logical based. This is the observation which I have done with respect to last 10 years of UPSC history evaluation. So it's important you have knowledge 50%, but 50% depends on your analytical skills, ability to see the traps, ability to see how intelligently questions have been set, traps have been set and understand logically and get the answer to score well in history. Now you see, my friends, history from modern history it has shifted to medieval history. Almost in the last 3-4 years from 21-22, modern history questions were very negligible, like 3-4 questions were coming. However, in 25, again modern history question was raised to 9 questions out of 18 questions. If you see, again history will have anywhere between 18 to 20 questions every year and it is a part of I4 which I already told you, where polity 20 questions, 15 to 20 question, geography 15 to 20 question, economy 15 to 20 question and history 50 to 20 question. This alone 4 subjects will give you more than 60 to 70 questions out of 100 questions, and if you are able to get 50 plus here, then the ticket for you to write mains is for sure, almost 100%. This is probability, my friends. Don't run behind vast books, vast subject, but make sure you study properly themes, maintain a book, understand how questions have been set, how it has evolved, and answer, prepare accordingly and answer accordingly. So here, ancient 6, medieval 2 to 3 questions, art and culture normally 2 to 3 questions were coming every year. 2025 it was less. If you see 22 question in 2016, 14, 27, highest in 2018, then 16, then 19, 20, 15, 13, 10, 24 it was the least. However, again it is 18. 18 to 20 questions appear in the UPSC examination with respect to history, and history is doable understanding how the questions have been distributed and which are the important themes in the ancient history, medieval history, art and culture and modern Indian history. So this is the distribution. Pause the video, go through once completely and make sure your preparation is accordingly. I hope you have passed and you have gone through the complete breakup of the 10-year trend analysis. We'll see next, we'll see the important micro themes in each of these subjects, each of these subject units. If you see the ancient Indian history, which I have analyzed between 2020 to 25, the themes that are evolving around are technology, governance, religion, architecture, society, economical development, technology again, engineering, asked time and again in the syllabus which we saw in the first initial slides of this PPT. So here technology in 25 asked about Aragata, right? Animal powered wheel where other part and spokes, okay? With other parts on spokes. Then you have governance with respect to Mauryan office. What is Pradeshika? How are their administration? How are their revenue collection? Okay. What are the different terminologies, terms? All this becomes important. Not only Mauryas, it's a continuation with respect to Guptas, Harshavardhanas, in South, Pandyas, Cheras, Cholas. All this becomes important. Then religion, again, with respect to Buddhas, epithets were asked in 2024-23. Architecture was asked with respect to Buddhist Stupa. 2022, society with respect to slavery in Arthashastra. Okay, legal rights of slave and sons asked again. Mitakshara, Dayabhaga, the legal system of, with respect to society only, the legal system of land distribution and land inheritance was asked. With respect to technology, again, engineering, with respect to Dolavira, the water system, right? Water harvest, all this was asked in 2021 with respect to ancient India. See how to study, I have already told. Based on that, we are seeing the micro themes also and the micro topics with respect to themes also. Now we'll see some of the important mapping in medieval Indian history, how questions have arrived every year with respect to the themes. Again here, 2025, with respect to Chola Navy, the diplomacy of the king, Rajaraja Rajendra One's campaign, Rajaraja Chola's campaign. It can be religion next year, society next year, women's status, the poets, the works done by the poets next year. So it's important you cover 360 in each dynasties and move forward, linking from one dynasty to other dynasty, link kingdoms, timeline and geography. Time, space, casual link should be there. Then foreign policy of Krishna Deva Raya. Okay, permitted Portuguese, linked with the modern India coming of an modern Indian history, modern age. Then dynasties in 8th kingdom. Okay, this is purely chronology. In 8th century kingdom, which of the dynasties were there? He had given 6 dynasties. Okay, testing chronological rise. Then economy. Okay, what is Funam in asked in 2022? Again 2021 hierarchy. See, linked again with the ancient histories, hierarchy with respect to Mughal administration. That time it was asked with respect to Mauryan administration. How state is divided into paraganas, okay, districts. All this will be important here. Mughal administration with respect to Paragana, Sarkar, Subha was asked in 2021. Same was asked in 2025. Here with respect to Mauryan officers 2025. See, history repeats again and again. Here it was asked with respect to Mughal administration in 2021. 2021 again society with respect to Vijayanagara women, expertise in which are the areas. If you see, Vijayanagara was one of the golden age in the southern Indian period. So based on that knowledge and linking of the dynasties, the kingdoms and the complete overall society and its themes, you will be able to answer. Next, my friends, modern Indian history. Here it is mainly resistance. Okay, how resistance was followed from Swaraj, from the boycott after the partition, okay, till 1947 independence, the resistance, the periods of resistance, questions have been asked each and every time. Then questions have come from ideology. Okay, Gandhiji at Dandi, sedition as a religion. Okay, then legislation becomes very important. Colonial legislation from 1773 to 1947. 2024, 1935 Act. 2023, Charter Act was asked. 2022, personalities, place people in news, Gaddar Party was asked. And 2021, the literature. Okay, with respect to songs from prison, who wrote? Okay, with respect to Gandhiji's translation when he was in Aravada jail. Again, time and again, the important phases of Indian freedom movement, important key personalities with respect to that movement, the ideologies with respect to that movement have been asked again and again. This is one of the key mapping which I have done with respect to modern Indian history. Now, we have seen that modern Indian history, it was from 68-70%, it has dropped to 40-50%, and ancient, medieval and art and culture has risen from 30% to 50-60%, even 70% also. So you have to make sure that you have to give equal weightage to ancient history, art and culture, medieval history as you give to modern history. The themes which I have discussed becomes very important, and PYQs of last 20-25 years become very important. However, we are going to discuss last 5-6 year ka important themes in each of the subject units of ancient, medieval, art and culture and modern history in the coming classes. So what are the traps in UPSC? How history he has kept the traps, we'll see which are the important logical fallacies and traps he'll keep here. Common misconception he'll keep. You believe, or widely it is believed it is true, however it is logically incorrect, historically incorrect. For example, stupa is a Buddhist in origin. What we think, okay, stupas we have not heard before Buddhism, so we'll think, okay, stupa is Buddhist origin. No. Buddhism or Buddhists adopted stupas. However, stupas were there before also. It was a pre-Buddhist. It is a trap asked in 23 or 24 question. Then similar sounding. See, swapping is one of the key trap kept by UPSC. Swapping Nagarjuna with Nagasena monk asked in 2025. Right? Monk and their works. And places in news. Sorry, here not news but places of history, historical importance. Geographical importance linked with history. Swapping will happen. If 4 statements he has given, 2 statements he would have swapped. Obviously, the answer will be sometime 2 pair. It can be 3 pair or 1 pair also. Normally, if we swap 2 statements, the answer to that question will be 2 pairs will be that answer when swapping happens between the 2 options out of the 4 statements. Then location traps is one of the common traps kept in UPSC, claiming, for example, Chandraketugarh is in Odisha. Okay. However, it is in West Bengal. And who is the king? Okay, there is 3 match the following now. Linked one after the other. So, the king, the place in news, okay, the state, that kind of questions have come. Then, extreme keywords. Unless you have studied, you have knowledge, whenever asked, extreme statements generally in history are tend to go wrong, my friends. For example, Charter Act of 1833 ended all monopolies. No, it was 1833, not 1813. It excluded tea and trade with China. If you know specifically, then write. If you don't know and there are very extreme words, normally it will be wrong. So this, all the logical traps, okay, are with respect to last 15 plus years PYQ analysis, where specific misconceptions have been placed by UPSC to make sure aspirants will go wrong. So go through this, see once, pause the video, please go through all these important traps kept by UPSC. Next, how to approach then? Now though the tricks, elimination techniques all have been eliminated with the pair questions, how to approach becomes very important. Now you know what are the traps set by UPSC. You have 3 layers of decoding. First is surface layer. Understand what the question look like format. Is it pair question? Is it reason assertion? Okay, many questions have come with respect to reason and assertion even in history. Is it pairs question? Is the pair question linked with mapping, historical mapping? Is it linked with the works? Are 4 statements given or 3 statements given? All this will be crucial to come to the answer. This is the surface layer. Okay, next is the concept layer. What the UPSC is testing, that we have discussed already in the syllabus decoding and micro themes decoding. It is not just kingdom, king, timeline, okay, factual, but analytical. Around the kingdom, 360 degree you have to analyze religion, society, administration, revenue system. All this you have to understand. Once you understand that, how the direction is going from one kingdom to one kingdom, one timeline to the next timeline, you'll be able to understand conceptually. You'll be able to remember, revise very less topics, but remember easily. Next, you have this trap layers, which you have discussed in the last slide. Of UPSC creates that logical fallacy in statements. They'll keep a trap to make sure you go wrong. So ensure that distraction and that logical trap you'll be able to get answer from deleting, or make sure that statement you are able to eliminate. Next, the nuance principle is statement using can, may, likely have almost 70% probability. This is all factual based on last 10-year analysis of being correct than absolute statement. See, this is unless you know for a fact, then only go through this. Unless you know for a fact that that statement is right or wrong, then only you enter. If you don't know anything about that, then you choose this principle that most can, may, likely will be right statements and absolute statement, extreme statements will be wrong unless you know for sure that fact is a right statement. So my friends, what is the strategy and action plan for 2026 prelims? Make sure you properly focus. If you have left ancient medieval history and art and culture, you might be leaving more than 60 to 70% of the questions of history itself. Modern history might come only 3-4 questions this year. So make sure you give equal weightage and make sure you stick to one book or your own notebook and study and revise thoroughly. Make sure static and dynamics are linked. Any places in news, okay, like World Heritage Sites, wherever some of the important like Prime Minister or President has visited those historical places, that becomes very important. If any foreign dignitaries have visited those historical places, any expedition happened, any new artifacts found will be linked with the static. Harappan, okay, Buddhism, Jainism, it will be linked. Then focus on how, learn various dimensions of working of society. This is example, administration, military organization, revenue, economy, religion, women's status, okay, art and culture, all this you link, you study along with when you study the history in timeline. Then the trap mindset. Be ready, understand how UPSC is asking, be ready with the statements, be like a hawk to find the statements which are wrong. And extreme statements, unless you know for a fact it is true, normally the extreme statements will be wrong. then map clarity. My friends, revision is the key. Map, if you think previous day you will see everything and go, it's not possible. You need to do Harappa sites, you need to do then Vedic sites, then you need to do, for example, Mauryan, Ashokan rock edicts, then Guptas, their ports, okay? Then you have to do medieval Indian history till modern Indian history. You have to map so many places. If you have to know map by clarity, you have to revisit, you have to revise, you have to do active recalling, my friends. Then only you will be able to get, okay, more out of this map based history questions, where almost you can see 3 to 4 questions coming every year. 3 to 4 questions are coming. So make sure you do this. Out of 18 to 20 questions, if 4 or 5 questions are coming from map clarity, it becomes very important that you map from ancient Indian history till modern Indian history, and where the focus has been, you can see in the PYQs that we discuss in the coming classes. So I hope this strategy session has been extremely helpful for the students who are struggling with the history, with the memorization. Now you have debunked that it is not just memorization. It is important to know chronology as well as the space, how the kingdom have developed, the timeline, but also it is important how causal and effect relationship is there, how analytically the society and the kingdom is built with respect to other areas 360 degree, and it is linked from one kingdom to other kingdom, and where the focus themes and areas UPSC is asking. By cracking that, I think history will be easy, and it will be saving time as well as the amount of pages you read. Make sure you revise multiple times that, and you can crack history through this decoding. I hope to see you in the next class. Till then, take care.